Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far, and the competitive Call of Duty community never ceases to amaze. Los Angeles Thieves are at it again. Roster mania chaos on that side of things, as is tradition at this point. TJ is benched, but that is certainly not where the story ends. Lots of chaos to dive into today. I'm very much intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new as always, I greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. Also, the big red button I imagine is going to be your best friend if you haven't hit it already, because there's going to be a lot of continuing drama and chaos along these lines, I am sure, in the coming days. Let's dive into things then. So this is what Crow tweeted out a few days ago. Rumours started to come out, the fact that TJ could be benched off the Los Angeles Thieves, and we were seeing that, okay, Drazah comes out, gotta be undeniable, and we were thinking, okay, after a relatively poor performance when they went back to LAN, with all the Huke drama that went down, given he couldn't exactly play because of, well, the test situation that we will dive into in quite some detail here in a couple of minutes' time, thinking, okay, will they get rid of TJ? Will they bring Drazah actually fully into the team? And, well, will Huke actually have still earned his spot in the team, right? Because given he costed the team pretty hard due to that situation, will they have further repercussions of that issue, really, with them deciding to replace him with someone else, whoever that might be? So, well, that is exactly what happens, as we'll look at in a couple of minutes' time here. As Slack says, me, Venom, and Gravity need one for the elite, so seems like Venom wasn't going to be the guy coming in, and therefore, well, we started to piece together what could be going on, but this came as something of a surprise. Crone tweets out early morning yesterday, Los Angeles Thieves expected to add John to their CDL roster, latest for Esports. Now, the initial impression of this was, wow, okay, Drazah, like, what has Drazah done to Thieves to not deserve to be in the starting team? Every single time it feels like they're bringing Drazah, he performs great, and then they just decide to, leave him on the wayside, effectively. They did that even before this season began, a couple of times already this season, and the initial response was, for example, right here, like, I met all the criteria, but, I wasn't selected, right, as, well, Drazah saying behind the scenes. However, that's not exactly what Crone says in the article. Heading into Stage 5, Drazah could keep his starting position, but John is expected to replace TJHaLy, who will compete in challenges, etc., etc. Sasha and Kenny are set to round out the Thieves roster. So you didn't really know at the time whether it was going to be Drazah, whether it was going to be Huke still in the starting team, and potentially it was going to be Huke still on the bench after effectively, well, maybe messing up his entire situation, right? After all the drama that's gone on this entire season, to then have this whole situation, the fact that the test all went wrong. We'll talk about what Kenny has to say about it in a few minutes' time here, why he couldn't play, and the details behind the scenes, really, from the situation that happened at the major that has now costed him effectively his starting spot. You do have to wonder, really, if he didn't spell his name wrong, and of course there's more to it than just spelling his name wrong, as Kenny's going to dive into, but if he didn't do that typo on the test, then maybe John doesn't even come into this team now. If you guys aren't familiar with John, they go on to confirm it. I mean, TJ first all confirms it, right? He says on stream, yes, it's actually TJ that's been benched and highlight that being Huke, and then John is coming into the team. If true, expect Drazah to start as well. That's what TJ says at the time. As Kenny says, it's important to have the right people in your circle. So already some very interesting tweets coming out of the timeline saying, okay, maybe Huke is not necessarily the right guy to have around, given seems a bit of a liability, right, with this whole situation right now. Messing up the test, as we're going to dive into right here at the major. And then early morning, Thieves do indeed confirm it. So John, the Black Ops 3 world champion, alongside Jacob, the coach, and Slasher, the main assault rifle player right now of Los Angeles Thieves, back onto this team. So great to see him back in the league, to be honest. Of course, he's been biding his time in challenges for quite a while now. Why he was never able to compete a couple of years ago was a bit of a question mark. We still don't really know, didn't get an official response why he wasn't able to compete during Modern Warfare. But he's clearly back in business, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are relatively new to John. Like, I don't know exactly what this guy was capable of, and what a phenomenal player he's really been throughout Call of Duty history. If you look at the best SMG players of all time, obviously Scump's number one. You can probably argue that Simp and aBeZy now are like 2 and 3, to be honest. But still aBeZy, I think a lot of people would say, is number 2, two-time world champion at the end of the day, and John is right there. It's always kind of been like Scump, aBeZy, and then John, like the best SMG players of all time. Simp and aBeZy are probably like maybe have overhauled them a little bit, but John has been around for absolutely years and has been winning championships for so long. As he says, ready to compete in the COD League. Finally, the fact it's with Thieves is a blessing, moment in the making, and I'm ready to make the most of it. So I think this is a pretty good move. Chemistry-wise, it actually makes a lot of sense, as we'll look at here in a second, but the player he's replacing is quite remarkable. This is going to be their roster going into Stage 5. So Kenny and Slasher, as expected. Drazah is still in the team after getting subbed in last minute for Huke, given the whole situation, and TJ is effectively out for John. Huke is nowhere to be seen. Huke is back on the bench. Can you believe it? Like, Los Angeles Thieves, you can't make break this stuff up. TJ got benched for Huke initially, then Huke got benched again, TJ came back, then TJ gets benched again, but this time it's not Huke back in the team. Drazah stays after all the drama at the major, and now it's John into the team with Huke. You know, they've got Huke, they've got Venom, they've got TJ sitting there all on the bench. This is quite remarkable. They've put together another roster, and it's Huke of all players after paying all the money for him. You got to think, really looking at Hastra, the Dallas Empire, and Crimsix, and all that type of stuff, that they may have finessed this situation relatively well, getting, I suppose, full price for Huke, given all that has transpired since then. So this is the Thieves roster. Honestly, I'm somewhat mind-blown the fact that this has happened. I kind of figured that something might be going on with the Huke situation, because we talked about it a couple of days ago on the Breaking Boy podcast, the fact that I kind of fancy Drazah to stay in this team. I think he's certainly earned his spot at this point, and I was wondering what they would do with Huke, given that I'm sure they think, like, you know, does this guy really, has he earned his spot? Does he actually want to play, as Kenny's talking about in a second here, with how, like, he effectively screwed their team over at the major, right? And they're thinking, all right, well, John is an option in challengers, let's just get him in, existing chemistry here with Slasher especially, and maybe they can get something done. And clearly they don't want to go down the Huke route, which is kind of incredible, to be honest. They paid all that money for him, and now in a perfect opportunity he's sitting on the bench. But this is John's career, at least the last few years, before he had to stop playing throughout the Modern Warfare season. You can see World Championship winner with Slasher in Infinite War, or in Black Ops 3, sorry, then into Infinite Warfare. They had honestly like a terrible season until somehow their team turned it around right at the end and came second at the World Championship and the playoffs, to both of which to the OpTic Dynasty squad. Won Birmingham back in 2018, the first LAN event I attended, and then won Fort Worth as well in Call of Duty Black Ops 4. So John, a very great player for so many years. He's played since like Black Ops 1. This guy's an absolute veteran of the scene, and well, still competing at a pretty high level, clearly. Now, at the end of the day, is this going to be a crazy upgrade move for them? I'm not sure. John, I think, has a lot to prove right now, especially given that the man that is sitting on the bench that could have been in the team instead is none other than, well, Huke Garland. So, pretty remarkable scenes. Now, of course, in response to this, there's going to be an emergency flank, and well, Kenny says in reply, let me hop on. So I'll share this for you guys real quick. Couple of minutes as Kenny's talking about the whole situation, what happened, what went wrong for Huke, and how it was so much more than just a typo. And he really feels like, and a lot of the team feels like Eric and Mardog, and that's who Eric is. I don't know if he says Mardog or he says Eric, but that's who he means by the situation. That's their general manager. Tried to get everything figured out for Huke, but still, he was late to the venue. They couldn't practice on time. He took a picture of his ID instead of actually bringing his ID. So just so many reasons why, and Drazah was ready to go as well. So, like, I'm sure from the Los Angeles Thieves perspective, it's like, look, Huke, I mean, you might be focused on the game or whatever, but if you're not actually trying to help us win, right, by actually doing this stuff which seems so straightforward and so obvious, then you don't deserve your spot on the starting team any longer.
He texted the chat that night and said, like, his wasn't getting registered, and me and Tej both responded like, bro, fix your name, you spelled your name wrong. and he just like, it was just like nothing. Like, it wasn't like, oh, I finished it, blah 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 blah, nothing like that. We go into the next day. By the way, our scrim, we're supposed to be at the facility at 1 because we had a scrim, obviously. I'm on the way there. Me and Don are driving. It's 12:45. I'm pulling up.
Yeah.
He texted chat like 12:50. Like, yo, by the way, I'm about to call my Uber. Keep in mind that Airwright lives 30 minutes away.
Yeah,
he's about to call his Uber at 12:50. So it's automatically late.
Yeah.
And he says that he was like, by the way, I didn't figure out that test. I'm hoping they take my test from 3 days ago. We're like, bro, there's a reason they gave you the test. That's why we took a test before. We did take a test 3 days into it because you had to know going to the event if you had it or not, and then you also had to take tests at the event. I mean, everybody's tweaking out, like, bro, you have to do this, like, yeah. and Eric's like, bro, get here now, like, bro, get in the Uber. I need you to make your account because you have to make an account on this app, and like, you need to get here now because we need to do this. You have to have it. You can't even play. And he responded saying like he was focused on the game. Like, brother, you're not about to play if you don't do this test.
Yeah, what? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and so he's supposed to make the account in the Uber. He gets here, obviously late already, like 40 minutes late or something like that.
Yeah. And
he didn't make the account. So at this point, I'm being told all this stuff, and I'm thinking like, bro, do people want to play? You know, like, Eric makes his account, does all this for him, and then he's like, yo, where's your ID? So Kyler brings a picture of his ID. And like, you can't do that because you need to show the doctor on the screen your ID.
Yeah.
At this point, he's already late as hell. We can't scrim, so we're letting Drazah know, like, yo, you need to be ready. You might have to play today. And by the time the test was done, we were walking up on the stage.
Too late.
And like, keep in mind, as much as people are like, yo, maybe we didn't do as much to help him, bro. I'm pretty sure Eric got our subs done that same day. Got their test done, everything done. Drazah was ready, and he played. So it's like it was able to be done.
Yeah.
And like, that's how, like, And like, as much as I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to like on Kyler. It's just the fact that like he made it seem like it was a typo, and like there was so much more to it. Like everybody was trying to help out and help him get to the point where he can play, and it didn't seem like he wanted to. And that
So Kenny was super open, super straight up, to be honest, on this stuff, as he says here. Listen, make your own opinions on what I said, but at the end of the day, I kept it as real as possible, looking and moving forward, most certainly. Absolutely remarkable stuff. What do you guys think about this new roster? Is this the way to go? This was, of course, their performance at the major. Wasn't particularly great. I mean, Drazah's in the team, TJ's in the team. Slash has been playing pretty well since he's come back, most certainly. So has Kenny. But, of course, you know, Drazah statistically maybe not looking too pretty, but at the end of the day, I think Drazah has been a phenomenal asset to this team. So the SMG line is now going to be, instead of TJ, it's going to be John. Now, does that give this team the highest possible ceiling? Maybe not. You could say that Huke is at his very, very best, better than, well, both of those players. At the end of the day, though, he hasn't really proved that for the latter half of this season. I'm sure, like, chemistry-wise, I mean, Slasher seemed very frustrated indeed, and I'm sure the rest of the guys were as well. The fact that all their practice and chemistry with Huke that they built up the last couple of days, Kenny was saying, I think, earlier in that they were frying, like, they were feeling really good in practice leading up to the major, and of course they weren't able to play with him because Huke messed up the whole situation, spelled his name wrong, didn't get it fixed, it turned up late, like so many reasons, that like so many ways that it could have been fixed. It's not just about a typo, like there were so many like steps that he could have taken to get over that would have resolved the situation, but clearly it doesn't seem keen to do so, and therefore Thieves are like, alright, well, you know, we've had enough, and we're going to bring in someone who we know we have prior experience with, who's won world championships with Slasher, who has great experience, and well, I suppose, you know, like chemistry existing with the coaching staff in JCap, so a lot of reasons why the John move makes sense. At the end of the day, though, John's been down in challenges for a while. I think his statistics in challenges haven't exactly been spectacular, so there's a lot to prove on the John ends that he deserves his spot back here in the Pro League on a team like Los Angeles Thieves that is going to try and compete for championships. Now, at the end of the day, bringing a guy like John in back on LAN as the World Championships just around the corner, it does make a lot of sense. Drazah in the team, I think, is phenomenal. I'm really happy they decided to actually keep him in the squad, to be honest, because he certainly earned his spot, and I was thinking, well, look, if they don't put Drazah back in, like, some other team is going to snag him at the end of the season, no doubt. So I think that this team, TJ's obviously been underperforming all season long. Bring in John and get hopefully some better numbers out of him than TJ was getting, and all of a sudden I think you do have another contender on your hands, and you know, just leave it a little bit of time for this team to actually work out right. That's the thing. You look at Vivid, for example, going to the Dallas Empire the other way around, you can very much look at that squad and say, okay, well, if JCap was coaching, or if that was the Thieves organization, would they have just subbed out Vivid after like 2 weeks of him underperforming before they actually give the team some time to develop some chemistry and get to the point where they can win championships? Maybe they would have, right? So just, I would urge the Thieves guys, I suppose, give this team some time and yeah, see what happens as a result. Because who knows, by champs, maybe it actually is the way to go, and continuing to shuffle out players with TJ coming back in, Venom coming back in, Huke coming back in is probably not going to be the answer, I would imagine, at this point. As Clay says, I've learned my lesson commenting on 100 Thieves roster changes. If it is true, glad to see my boy John back on the battlefield. It has been too long, and well, just wanted to finish off with this. I thought was pretty entertaining, to be honest, as a result of this, that well, Crone tweets out, I was actually remembering back to the Black Ops 3 World Championship team, of course, with Slasher right here. You can see John in the center, aBeZy was on the squad at the time, and it was Jacob, of course, on that team as well, so wondering whether Jacob's going to find a way to sub himself in, bring back aBeZy, and then form a World Championship winning squad from 5 years ago at this point. But very much intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. More on the Huke drama ready to talk about later today. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. Really helps out the YouTube algorithm that you enjoy this content. Other people like you may enjoy this content as well, and I've grown the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always, take care, and I will see you next time.